Ladies and gentlemen, holy Toledo, welcome back to Data Dispatch. November has been absolutely nuts, and today continues that trend with the amount of volatility that is coming through, liquidity that is moving around at astronomical rates. We have leverage that is being just taken out like nothing, especially in the crypto markets, and now huge headlines from the administration we're going to be talking about regarding crypto. We see Palantir that is actually kind of cooling off after we have Michael Burry, of course, announcing his large short position. We have the market near these all-time highs on top of a governmental shutdown, but Hood comes out with slam dunk earnings today. So lots of interesting things to digest. We'll be talking about it, giving you guys a whole recap and kind of what's happening as we speak. Interesting time here, especially with November and in terms of seasonality. So let's get into the video. If you're a new or returning viewer, hit the like button, subscribe for daily videos. We're trying to hit 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Let's see if we can do it, and follow me on X down below if you want to talk more on a frequent basis. Now, talking about Palantir right here, pop it up on the screen at 187.90. What Palantir is doing really well in terms of a technical standpoint is really turning this previous resistance spot into a support level. So you're seeing an SR kind of flip right here, and you see consolidation across the broad kind of intraday trading with Palantir closing here at 188 basically. In terms of the overnight hours, we'll be talking about that here, but nonetheless, we had Palantir that had astronomical earnings, like probably some of the best earnings that we've seen in the company. Pushes up to 207 here. You have Michael Burry, of course, at that short position. Now Palantir is doing a good job right here. What it likes to do after Palantir cools down is it likes to trade sideways. It likes to consolidate before just waiting for that next leg up, another big catalyst, or a change in the macroeconomic environment that's extreme enough to move Palantir that quick. Also, I like to use Palantir as a gauge on how the general AI trade is going. And right now, it's showing to be relatively resilient. I've always liked to use that as a barometer, and it's proved well for me. So right here, in terms of if Palantir enters back into this consolidation zone, I mean, a ton of support here for accumulation between 171 and 186. Looking in the overnight hours, only down about 51 cents. We see consolidation across the board. No big things happening within the stock. I think the stock's just trying to find a little bit of its grounding. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Burry's short position. I mean, it could play out, or, he could be ended up having to close it out. So we'll see what happens. It'll be really interesting to see. That's where you have some uncertainty that lies right now with the market and with these two names, specifically Palantir with NVDA. On the flip side of things, in terms of opposite of shorts, you do have some bullish flow that's coming in here. Saw this on a flow right here at 38.6 million at the February 20th, 2026 call right here in terms of premium. So lots of people still anticipating Palantir to achieve its next leg up. Talking about the market, let's talk about that before we get into the other individual names and talking about Robinhood's earnings. Dow closes up about 200 points here. You, of course, have some uncertainty that's lying around with the whole Supreme Court probing the whole legality regarding Trump's tariffs arguments. I haven't been following that crazy close. I don't get too involved into the politics, more just looking to see what the final results are and trying to anticipate how the market's going to react off of those type of headlines. Otherwise, it's just too much time digging into the politics of it. But whether, in terms of traders right here, they're predicting reducing their bets that the Supreme Court would actually uphold Trump's tariffs in light of the court's skepticism. So I guess that's kind of where we're sitting at right now. But I guess we'll just see what happens at the end of the day. Nonetheless, S&P 500 is relatively resilient. We see it close right beneath 6,800 right here at 67.96, up about 0.4%. So basically consolidation across the board. Lots of green in the market today. We're seeing a little bit of a relief after Monday and Tuesday when it seemed like everybody at X was screaming, saying this is the top. So I still continue to like to see people say that we're in the bubble, this is the top, blah, 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 because those top callers keep giving more room for this AI trade to play out, which is, still continuing to possibly have a multi-year bull run. We'll see what happens, though. One big thing in terms of the labor market that Amit had posted on here that I actually liked is that because we don't have governmental data, of course, in the governmental shutdown, is that the ADP private payrolls for October came in at 42,000 versus 22,000 expected, following a negative 29,000 decline in September. This is really nice for the markets in terms of showing resiliency and some strength within the labor market, showing some level of stability to the upside even. And since we are seeing kind of in this blind void from the governmental shutdown, we're not seeing all these different pieces of macroeconomic data that help continue to bring kind of confidence and into the market. And why we're seeing is because we're kind of in this limbo zone. So we're using alternative data measures. Private payrolls right here. Like to see here that the labor market is showing some signs of strength after we did see some weakness from previous statistics. Toggling over here to Robinhood, or currently looking at the futures right now, basically down about 40 cents, not moving much right there in terms of consolidation with the broader market. Looking at Hood, let's talk about Robinhood. Slam dunk on the earnings right here. You can see expected numbers. They come in at 61 cents actually reported versus 54 for expected earnings per share, and that correlates to a revenue of 1.27 billion versus 1.22 expected, beating about 13% on the earnings per share and 4% on the revenue. In terms of their actual platform assets, up 119% year over year. Gold subscribers up 77% year over year. Sales, doing very well. So Robinhood is continuing to come out with these slam dunk earnings. What you actually do have in terms of the price action, though, is a little bit of volatility and actually a little bit of a sell-off. You see right here after the bell going from 143 down to about 136, so a sell-off, and now you're seeing a little bit of reaccumulation, a little bit of a momentum and a bid being caught up right here. Robinhood right now at 140.25. People calling, is this the push now to 150, 160 possibly? I guess we'll see what happens, but nonetheless, Robinhood is executing quite well. So it's great to see that. One thing that did kind of spook me a little bit, and we'll talk about this, also Hood margin balances just hit 13.9 billion, which is up 153% year over year. Now, that could be more people coming onto the platform, of course, and taking margin, but talking about here, this post from Shay saying that retail is fully levered in risk on mode. It seems like, the investors did not learn their lesson from the whole October 10th kind of Friday when we had a huge liquidation event in the retail equity markets, and especially in crypto. That was the largest liquidation event in crypto's history. So what you're still seeing here is that retail and is fully levered, taking on full risk here, trying to take advantage of the AI trade. And that's where we toggle over onto Ethereum. And we'll talk about BMNR here because there's actually been a lot of interesting things happening. We had Ethereum that lost that 3,700 kind of floor area of support that was pretty strong for a while. This is where the market went into a full panic mode that we saw on Monday and on Tuesday. Ethereum dropping all the way down here to 3,000. Everybody freaking out. And what you're seeing here is a nice reversal in the actual cryptocurrency itself. You see right here currently at 34.24. So in the matter of just 24 hours, this thing has already bounced back to about $400 in the positive in the last 24 hours here, up about 4%. So very volatile. People, I think it's interesting when you see these stocks, or not stocks, but digital currencies that have this amount of volatility. These are very, very volatile assets. So got to be able to stomach that to be able to handle this, especially for people that got shaken out, because this was a strong shakeout right here and being forced to sell at that 3,000, now seeing the dip right here. So interesting to see. What you're seeing in terms of industrialization, that's kind of the big thing. And what Tom Lee's been betting on, especially with BMNR, which is holding a lot of support right here at the 41. We'll talk about this in a moment. But nonetheless, what you're seeing here, Trump coming out with a big statement today, saying that crypto takes a lot of pressure actually off the dollar. It does a lot of good things. And with this official quote saying that they're making the U.S. the number Bitcoin superpower, basically the number one, the crypto capital of the world. And as we know, with Tom Lee's prediction, working to build the financial product suites and the products that will be offered through the whole cryptocurrency industry on Ethereum. That's his bet. Right here, look at this announcement. $7 trillion. Charles Schwab, CEO, says the company plans to launch crypto trading in the first half of 2026. So now you have big key financial platforms, traditional TradFi financial platforms that are hopping on to these whole cryptocurrency trade. It'll be interesting to see what happens here within the next few months. And looking at BMNR right here at 41.67, we haven't heard or haven't personally heard of if Tom Lee's accumulated, probably has any type of BMNR or Ethereum at this dip right here. Strong support holding right now with reversal possibly being triggered right here at this 40. This is very, very, very strong. If this gets lost, which it could, this is a very volatile asset. If we see any macroeconomic change, that's where you could see a further breakdown of BMNR possibly. But nonetheless, if this reversal holds right here, this strong drop here could have a nice V-shaped push back up into the mid 50s possibly. We'll see what happens in due time. Remember, be very, very careful out there, especially in this kind of limbo zone that we're sitting at right now. Other type of AI trade stocks that are really popular right now. Of course, we have Cipher Mining, IREN, both closing at very, very high prices, all-time highs today. The whole AI type of, or these kind of traditional Bitcoin mining companies transferring more to these AI data centers is continuing to show a lot of liquidity that's coming into them. So AI trade, still bullish in my opinion. We'll see what happens and how many people keep calling the top until the top's eventually here. Peace out, take care, and I'll catch you guys later.